Alright, hello everyone. I'm going to do a comparison between the Racor brand, and then this is probably just a Chinese knockoff that you can purchase on eBay. And the reason I'm doing this comparison is I wanted to show the differences in between the two units. This is an old Racor, come off a boat built in the 80s, but at the same time it's probably pretty similar to what they're using today. If you guys see any differences, please comment, let me know what's going on. I bought this one for about $70 delivered, so pretty cheap. So I'm not expecting a lot, but it's be interesting to see what we actually come up with here. Right away, one of the things you can notice is the fasteners are a little bit different. Overall, it feels about the same. I will tell you that this one has steel bands on it, whereas the other unit runs aluminum. There is some differences in the bowls on them. Let me just make a mess here. Full disclaimer here, I did go through this racor earlier in the week, so it does have a new filter and seals and etc. in it. So if you do see some differences there. So right away you'll see a difference in the drains. I think this is an old style racor drain years ago. I don't know that for sure, but here's the newer style, the old style. Right away you see the plugs in this one. This one has a hole, but it's actually not drilled all the way through. You can see how the hole is not drilled through there. And then there's a plug in this one. Keep putting that in front of the camera. Forgive the noise, there's a lot of rain and everything here today. So let's take a look. Looking at the bottom, doesn't seem to be a ton of difference between the two. Obviously some cuts are a little bit differently. Casting's a little bit rougher on this one. You don't see the finished edges like you do on the Racor brand. May matter to some, really not that much to me, to be honest. Get a better eye what it looks like here. Sorry, I'm not very good using the camera, so bear with me here. I will say that something I noticed was this little ball here. It is a little bit different than this one. This one come out of a racor rebuild kit. This is the knockoff. Now, one just looks shinier, but there is actually a little bit different in the weight of them. I don't know if it matters or not. Again, just showing everybody the differences between the two units. Seals. Chinese knockoff. Honestly, not a lot of difference between them. You can see a little bit. The thickness, there is a thickness difference between the two. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Dolls here. So this one is done 132 2. This one's about 166 thousandths. Flip these over. It does have a fairly nice T-handle on it. The one I have has a pressure gauge in it. Now, right away, you're going to see the difference in the filters, and I'm going to try to get an inside shot of the different filters and what the. Well, now I have the tools I need here. Back to the filters in a second. Inside the racor, unit. Inside this brand, which I think is a Hanley brand. There is a spring down in this one. You can see that down in there. Okay. Which actually helps push the filter out. Now the housings themselves are very similar, as I discussed. One might be a little heavier than the other one, but other than that, they're both made of aluminum, other than the bands here. And let's slide those out of the way and take a look at the filters. Now right away, if you can see down inside those filters, you can tell the difference between them. I get a different camera angle here. Alright, so hard to see in this light. If you look down in that one, see all the light in there? This is the what I'd call the off brand. And here's the Parker unit. And if you look, it's actually solid all the way in, minus a little section at the back. Let's see if I can create enough light you can actually see down in there. Try this way. There you go. Alright, you can see the holes up here in the top. So from looking at this, the filter's a little bit different. Now these are older filters. They came with the boat. I haven't purchased any recently because there's a whole truckload of them that was stuck inside of it. However, these are a lot different. Look at the way they're pleated. It feels a lot cheaper than the other ones do. As you can tell, that's not quite going to filter as much. Maybe it's just a lower micron. It's hard to tell. It actually doesn't actually say anything on it. It does have a bypass built into it that you can punch open, same as the racors. But other than that, let's take a look and see how they measure out. This one's about it's not quite 4.5 inches around. This one looks to be about 4 3/8. We'll grab a tape measure here. Yeah, so 4 3/8. About the same. There's not that much difference between the two units. So looking at to see the difference, I don't even know where you would find the elements for these. I'm assuming they're available. Quite honestly, the cost of a fuel system, I don't know that I would do it. Now, another reason I bought these, not just to compare them, because what I wanted to see is if I could take the old stuff out and throw it away and put the Racor branded stuff in. In theory, as long as all the dimensions and everything are the same, it should work. I'm just going to check the inside of the housings here. It's about 4 inches, so 4 and 5/8. Now they're very, very close. I'm talking within this one's a 4/8/90. 5 thousandths difference. I don't know that 5 thousandths will make a huge bit of difference in anything based on what we're trying to do with it. Now, to get back to the bowls, as you can see, don't particularly care for this style because it's going to make a mess. There is no center hole. As you can see that, no center hole in it. So there's nothing to allow you to actually come to the fuel to drain out. It's going to drain out the sides here, which to me is rather annoying. Racor brand. Just ordered these offline. New seals, new drain, everything comes in a kit. Very nice drain system, easy to use. If I compared the two next to each other, they look the same. Honestly, they feel about the same material. If your racor has this hole not being used, then maybe this one will work just fine for what you have if you prefer this style drain. Again, these parts are readily available for the racor system. That's the ones I would use. There's always some different talks on how, if these are any different or not. They do look a little different. I don't know if you can see down in there or not. Comparing them, you can see the difference between the two. And again, this is the Racor brand. It may be because it was built years ago. I don't know the answer to this. I don't know the year model of this or anything to go with it. So maybe the newer styles like this, or maybe it's not. Maybe this is just a difference between the two units. The fit and finish a little bit better on this system. You can see the rough edges on it. But again, for the price, don't know that would stop me from anything. As far as this system goes, the slots are a little different, as you can tell. You can see how these are laid out in a different pattern. They're different sizes. Again, I'm not sitting here and I'm not going to judge and say which one's better, which one's worse. I wouldn't even know. So, give you a good idea of what they look like, how they operate. Possibly going to test these units. I've got plenty of old diesel fuel laying around. Maybe I'll do a head-to-head comparison if anybody wants to see it. If not, I won't waste my time with it, and I'll just use it with the Racor filters. So the idea behind buying these was so I didn't have to refurbish these other ones, which means I didn't have to resand them, repaint them. They come in pretty bad shape. I do not like the steel here because it's inside of a bilge, and quite honestly, they'll rust out shorter time than I want them to. But what we should be able to do is take this Racor filter here, And if it's the same, it should be able to go right in here. The filter seems to be about the same. That's that spring in the bottom of it. Oops, sorry. There's the cap. This one. The cap on this one. This is the racor here, and then obviously this one is the off-brand. Overall, again, they look very similar. There is a deeper lip on this one, which may be to push harder against that filter, or to hold the filter in center a little bit more. I don't know if the lids are interchangeable. Quite honestly, I doubt it, but it's worth looking at. Wait a second. To me, the lids do not seem to be interchangeable. Seems to me if you're running one, you're going to have to stick with a lid. Not sure that that matters. It's just a piece of aluminum, as long as it doesn't leak. So the filter sits in there. Can you see it? The difference in them. I do have an extra racor seal and rebuild kit here. It might be worth just going through and trying it and testing it to see what works, what doesn't. As stated before, this seems to be very similar. Like I said, the ball seems to be a little bit different. Again, I'm not as worried about that. The seal, however, I would discard. It's not the same quality as this seal is here. They are different material. For me personally, put the racor branded stuff in. You all let me know your thoughts, but we just put an entire racor system together in the old housing, or the new housing, and honestly, that was the reason I bought it. If I can save from sanding and blasting and painting and as much work, just by buying these, throwing the guts out, putting the racor systems in, racor filters, bowl assemblies, etc. Is it worth it? So like I said, this was around $70. I think if you buy a name brand racor, probably closer to $1,000. But everything should fit. The only thing I did not check is if my pressure gauge would fit in place of this T-handle. And I'm going to say probably not. I think they might be a different thread. I'm not going to force it in there. Just take this out now. Yeah, so it is a different thread. You can tell the difference on them here. Yeah, something different on them. Again, is that a big deal? Maybe, maybe not. If you want to keep the gauge on it, then you'd have to find an adapter to adapt it to this style here. Most likely, one's metric and one isn't. That's a guessing, man. Alright, so thanks for watching. Comment below if you want to see me run some dirty fuel through both of them. I believe I can split some circuits and see which one produces a better quality at the end of the day.